You've been lied to about kindness. Every time you apologized when you weren't wrong, every time you stayed silent to keep the peace, every time you gave more than you received, you weren't being good. You were being weak. And deep down, in that place where truth lives untouched by social conditioning, you know it. They told you virtue would be rewarded, that karma would balance the scales, that being the bigger person would somehow elevate you above the ones who take, who manipulate, who win. But look around. Look at who thrives. Look at who commands respect, who gets promoted, who people remember. It's not the saints. It's never been the saints. 500 years ago, in the shadow of Renaissance Florence, a man named Niccolò Machiavelli watched good men fall and ruthless men rise. He watched virtue become weakness, watched kindness become exploitation. And he did something unforgivable. He wrote down what he saw. Not what should be, not what we wish were true, but what is. The modern world has perfected the art of making you feel guilty for having boundaries, for saying no, for choosing yourself. Social media amplifies this. Every day, you're bombarded with messages about empathy, about understanding, about being endlessly available to everyone else's pain. But where's your empathy for yourself? Where's your understanding of your own needs? You post about mental health awareness while ignoring your own breakdown. You celebrate others' success while minimizing your achievements. You've become so good at being good that you've forgotten how to be real, how to be powerful, how to be respected. Machiavelli saw this coming. He knew that in a world of predators, the sheep don't inherit anything but slaughter. And right now, in this moment of recognition, you're standing at the edge of a truth most people spend their whole lives avoiding. A truth about power, about human nature, about why you feel so tired, so used, so invisible, despite doing everything right. That's where we go now, into the dark mathematics of human nature that Machiavelli mapped with ruthless precision. The year was 1513. Machiavelli, exiled from Florence, tortured for suspected conspiracy, sat in his country estate and wrote letters that would scandalize centuries. He'd spent his life watching the Medici family rule through cunning, while good men, moral men, principled men, were crushed beneath political machinery. He'd believed in virtue once. He'd believed in the Roman ideals of honor and civic duty. But reality had been a brutal teacher. "Everyone sees what you appear to be," he wrote. "Few experience what you really are." Think about that, really think about it. How much of your life is performance? How often do you smile when you want to scream? How many times do you say, "It's fine," when it's destroying you? You've mastered the art of appearing good, appearing stable, appearing selfless. But Machiavelli understood something you're only beginning to grasp. Appearance without power is just elaborate slavery. The good person, the reliable friend, the one who never complains, never pushes back, never demands. You wear these identities like armor, but they're not protecting you. They're imprisoning you. Every time you reflexively apologize, every time you accept less than you deserve, every time you silence your own needs to avoid conflict, you're not being noble. You're collaborating in your own diminishment. Here's what they don't tell you about Machiavelli. He wasn't advocating for evil. He was exposing the mathematics of power. He was showing how the world actually works beneath its pretty lies. "It is better to be feared than loved," he wrote, "if you cannot be both." Not because fear is noble, but because love without respect is worthless. Because kindness without strength is just weakness with better marketing. Look at your own life. Who takes from you without giving back? Who expects your constant availability, your endless understanding, your perpetual forgiveness? Now ask yourself, do they respect you? Or do they simply know you'll never leave, never fight back, never demand reciprocity? The modern workplace is a masterclass in Machiavellian dynamics. The hardest workers rarely get promoted. The ones who document their achievements, who make their value visible, who understand that competence without self-advocacy is invisible, they rise. You've been taught that good work speaks for itself, but in reality, work doesn't speak. People do. And the ones who speak loudest about their contributions, who claim credit strategically, who know when to be cooperative and when to be competitive, they're the ones writing your performance review. You think this is cynical? Look at your paycheck. Look at your title. Look at how many times you've been passed over while watching someone less qualified but more politically savvy take what should have been yours. Your goodness didn't protect you. It made you invisible. There's a story Machiavelli tells about Cesare Borgia, a man history remembers as ruthless, even monstrous. When Borgia conquered Romagna, he found it lawless, chaotic, full of thieves and murderers. He appointed a cruel enforcer named Ramiro de Orco to restore order through brutal means. The enforcer succeeded. Crime vanished. Peace returned. But the people hated him for his cruelty. So Borgia had de Orco executed and displayed in the public square, cut in 2 pieces, with a bloody knife beside him. The message was clear. I gave you order, I gave you justice, and I removed the source of your suffering. The people loved Borgia for it. They never questioned that he was the one who unleashed the cruelty in the first place. This is the world you live in. The same people who exploit your kindness will condemn you the moment you show spine. The same society that demands your selflessness will call you selfish the instant you claim what's yours. They've trained you to police yourself, to be your own prison guard, to feel guilty for having needs, boundaries, ambitions. But here's the darker truth, the one that keeps you up at night. You know they're using you. You know the game is rigged. You know that your goodness is being weaponized against you. But you keep playing along because the alternative terrifies you. What if they reject you? What if they call you difficult? What if they see who you really are beneath the performance? Men are so simple, Machiavelli wrote, and so ready to obey present necessities. Your necessity has been belonging, acceptance, the illusion of being loved, and you've paid for it with pieces of your soul. There's a moment in everyone's life when the mask becomes too heavy, when the performance exhausts you, when you realize that being good hasn't made you happy, it's made you empty, useful, convenient, forgotten. That moment is a crossroads. You can double down on the goodness, tell yourself that eventually it will pay off, that karma is just running late, or you can finally admit what you've always known. The game is about power, not virtue. And you've been playing with the wrong rule book. This isn't about becoming evil. It's about understanding that morality without power is impotence, that kindness without boundaries is self-destruction, that being good in a world that rewards calculation is a luxury you can't afford. Machiavelli's genius wasn't in promoting cruelty. It was in recognizing that power has its own logic, its own physics. And those physics don't care about your good intentions. They care about results. Impact, leverage. Start small. The next time someone asks for a favor that costs you more than it benefits them, say no. Don't explain. Don't apologize. Just feel that discomfort. That's your conditioning screaming. That's years of programming telling you that your value lies in your usefulness to others. Sit with that discomfort. Let it teach you something about how deeply you've internalized your own exploitation. Notice who gets angry when you set boundaries. Notice who calls you selfish for having standards. These people have been feeding on your goodness, and you've just cut off their supply. Their rage isn't really about you. It's about losing access to someone they could use without consequence. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, Machiavelli wrote, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. You've spent your life as neither. You've been the lamb, hoping that innocence would be its own protection. But innocence in a world of predators isn't protection, it's an invitation. The question isn't whether you'll develop power. The question is whether you'll develop it consciously, or whether life will force it upon you through pain. Every betrayal teaches you to trust less. Every exploitation teaches you to give less. Every time your goodness is used against you, you become a little more like the people you once judged. But what if you could skip the bitterness? What if you could choose power without losing your humanity? What if strength and compassion weren't opposites, but dance partners? This is what Machiavelli really understood, that power isn't the absence of virtue. It's the ability to choose when virtue serves you and when it enslaves you. It's knowing when to be the lion and when to be the fox. It's understanding that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is refuse to enable someone's worst impulses by being their perpetual victim. Years after his exile, Machiavelli wrote something most people never read. He said he wrote The Prince not to help tyrants, but to expose them, to show the people how power really worked so they could never be deceived again. Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe you're tired of being deceived, especially by yourself. Maybe you're ready to see the game for what it is, to understand the rules everyone else has been playing while you've been handicapping yourself with goodness. The choice is yours. You can close this video. Go back to your life of quiet servitude and keep wondering why you feel so empty despite doing everything right. Or you can take the red pill Machiavelli offered 5 centuries ago. You can see the world as it is, not as you wish it were. But I'll warn you, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you understand power, you can't pretend it doesn't exist. Once you stop trying to be good, you might finally discover what it means to be great. The question that remains, the one that will haunt you long after these words fade: who are you when the mask comes off?